smoky conditions all across Broward County with multiple brush fires burning in the Everglades. People miles away from the flames saying they can see and even smell the fire.
There is a monster hiding in the Florida sun that has virtually eliminated 99% of some animal groups. This is not a horror movie plot, but a real biological disaster unfolding right in the American backyard.
Very large reptiles already capable of doing damage may be more dangerous than anyone thought. The plot is playing out right here in Florida.
These giant snakes have changed the entire landscape into their own personal buffet. For a long time, the thick grass was their greatest shield, keeping their massive numbers a total secret from the world. But that shield just vanished. The crazy part is what happens when these predators have nowhere left to hide from the heat and the flames. Shadows in the sawgrass. When fire removes the grass, it shows more than just snakes. It shows the full scale of how much they have destroyed. The answer is both shocking and urgent. This is a war for the very soul of the Everglades. For many years, a massive predator has been moving through the tall grass. It strikes from the dark and consumes everything in its path. This invader is so good at hiding that people underestimated their numbers for a long time. This created a false sense of control that was very dangerous. Imagine trying to find a needle in a haystack if that haystack was thousands of acres long and impossible to walk through. This is what the experts face when they look for these sneaky creatures. The real problem is how well this invader can vanish. Its scales look just like the patterns of light and shadow on the water. This lets it blend perfectly into the thick sawgrass and the dark swamp water. This camouflage turns the Everglades into a fortress for the predator. It hides them from almost every attempt to track or catch them. When the grass is tall and thick, these creatures can easily hide something as big as a school bus. The threat is not just their size. The fact is, they have changed the very look of this land. The biggest surprise came on a day marked by fire. A planned burn went through part of the Everglades. It stripped away the thick plants that hid the invaders for 20 years. Suddenly, the ground started moving. It showed not just a few snakes, but a massive group that went as far as anyone could see. The fire showed a hard truth. The invaders had grown into a huge threat and were now reshaping the land on a scary scale. The snakes were everywhere, and the impact was much worse than anyone thought. But here is the catch. It is not just the snakes that cause worry. It is what they represent. They represent a shift in the balance of life. Native animals have almost disappeared in some spots. They have been replaced by a heavy silence where there should be busy wildlife. The lack of familiar creatures is a silent warning that the system is falling apart. This is not a sudden crisis. It is a slow-moving disaster that has been growing for many decades. It stayed masked behind the thick grass and the dark water. The fire changed the game by turning the snakes' best trick against them. Their ability to disappear was gone. Once they were exposed, they had to move. This showed them for the first time. This discovery is the first step toward getting control back. But it also makes us ask a hard question. How deep does this invasion really go? What lies under the scorched earth is more than just snakes. It is the landscape they have turned into their own kingdom. As the flames pass, they show more than just a few predators. They show a scene so empty it looks like a crime scene. All signs of other animals have vanished. Raptors and raccoons and bobcats and rabbits are gone. They once filled the food web but are now near a total collapse. The harsh light of the fire shows a world stripped bare. It shows the remains of what was once a bright and busy world. This big difference between life before and after the invader sets the mood for the hard fight ahead. Despite these big reveals, most of the Everglades is still not burned. It remains unknown. It is a vast area where these invaders can still work in total secrecy. The more experts learn, the deeper the mystery goes. The darkness hides an army that has grown way beyond what anyone guessed. It is a scary thought that the war for control has barely started. The stakes could not be any higher than they are right now. This is not just about moving snakes. It is about saving a complex and gentle system that supports many species. This includes some that are in danger, like the Florida panther. Each invasive predator changes the balance. They cut deep into the food sources that native animals need to live. Even top predators like alligators face new challenges in this new land. The invaders are shifting the entire food chain under their feet. The size and the silence of the invasion lead right into the story of how this predator got so deep into the Florida land. This massive takeover started with just a few small mistakes made many years ago. Florida's alien giant. The silent enemy that has taken over the Everglades is the Burmese python. It is a giant snake from Southeast Asia that found a perfect new home in the Florida wetlands. Their story does not start in the wild. It starts in the homes of people. These snakes were once very popular as exotic pets. In the 1980s and 1990s, Miami was a major spot for the exotic pet trade. Baby pythons were sold as cute and easy pets. They could curl around an arm and fit in a small glass tank. But that charm did not last long as the snakes got bigger. Unlike most pets, these pythons never stopped growing. The tiny babies that seemed harmless grew very fast. They went from 20 inches to 6 feet in just 1 year. Then they quickly reached 10 feet or more. Within a few years, a pet that was easy to handle turned into a predator the size of a telephone pole. This fast growth and their huge appetite made them very expensive. They were hard for owners to keep in a normal house. When the work became too much, many people let their snakes go in the Everglades. They thought they were giving them a better chance to live. Sadly, this release was the start of a huge disaster. Bringing the python to the Everglades created a predator with no natural checks. It quickly found a place that was perfect for it. It was warm and wet and full of things to eat. A big turning point for the snake population happened in 1992. This was the year of Hurricane Andrew. The powerful storm hit Miami and South Florida very hard. It destroyed places where people bred snakes and pet shops and zoos. This huge event let thousands of snakes out all at once. Their numbers exploded after the storm. They were hidden from humans in the huge swamp. The snakes were given everything they needed by the land. They had an endless supply of mammals and birds and reptiles. They had no natural enemies big enough to stop them. Even though alligators are tough, adult pythons can still take them down. The situation has flipped in favor of the invaders. This battle is being won by the newcomer because of their numbers and how they can change. The invasion was silent for many years. This was because the pythons are great at ambushing their prey. They do not chase anything. Instead, they stay still for a very long time. Sometimes they even hold their breath underwater for 30 minutes. They wait until a victim comes by. Their skin looks just like roots and water and mud. You can hardly see them at all. Experts only realized the problem when the snakes were already settled in. The impact on native animals has been a total disaster. The numbers of rabbits and raccoons and bobcats have dropped a lot. Some areas have seen a 99% loss. The once loud and colorful swamp has turned very quiet in the middle of python territory. This drop in numbers causes a chain reaction. It messes up the food webs and threatens animals already in danger. The Florida panther now has to fight even harder just to find a meal. The snakes do not just live there. They breed in a way that is shocking. One female python can make about 100 eggs every year. Even if only a few babies live, the population still grows fast. Some guesses say there are 70,000 to 100,000 pythons in the Everglades now. It could even be more. The real number is a very scary mystery because these snakes are such good hiders. The damage they have done becomes impossible to ignore when you look at the food web they have ruined. The loss of these small animals has created a hole that can never be filled. Vanishing wildlife. Where pythons have moved in, the Everglades is no longer full of life. The presence of these super predators has led to a fast collapse of native animals. In the areas hit hardest, studies found that marsh rabbit numbers fell by 99%. This is not just one small stat. Raccoons and opossums have faced the same huge drops. The silence they left behind is very loud. This loss goes beyond just mammals. Many bird types have suffered too. They are forced from their homes as their food goes away. The result is a break in the balance of the world. Every animal suffers when others disappear. The Everglades used to hum with noise and bird songs and movement. Now big areas are silent and still. It is a ghostly reminder of a world that is broken. Pythons put pressure on the land in two ways. They eat animals directly and they change the whole food web. They eat things that native hunters need, like deer and rabbits. This creates a fight for food that hurts the Florida panther. With the prey gone, native meat eaters struggle to live or have babies. This risks more loss for the health of the land. What makes the python problem so bad is how fast it happened. The slow invasion was not noticed at first because the snakes are secretive. Research shows this stealthy hunter has shifted the area into a new state. It is like a green tomb where many animals used to live but now barely exist. The loss of variety in life is a warning. This invasion affects more than just one type of snake. Experts call the Burmese python a super predator. It is an apex hunter so good that it changes the land as much as it lives in it. There is no natural animal in Florida that can control their numbers. This makes their growth happen without any stop. A single female making 100 eggs a year means they multiply fast. This non-stop breeding means the python will stay dominant for a long time unless something stops them. The silent invasion also hurts the culture of South Florida. The Everglades has always been seen as a special place. It is home to rare plants and animals found nowhere else on Earth. Its fast change into a land ruled by one predator risks more than just extinction. It risks losing what makes the region special. The stakes go beyond science and touch the local people and the environment. The bad state of this collapse forced people to find new ways to fight back. Just waiting was never going to work. Experts had to rethink how they managed the land. They had to fight the snake's stealth and its high numbers. This led to new and big ideas focused on fixing the balance. This included using controlled fires to show what the grass was hiding. The fire's job in this fight goes deeper into the story. It shows how the battlefield changes and reveals secrets hiding just out of sight. The smoke and flames are now the only hope for seeing what is really going on. The ashy reveal. Fire in the Everglades is not just about destroying things. It is a main part of how the land fixes itself. For thousands of years, lightning would start fires. These fires cleared away dead brush and helped new plants grow. This kept the grassy areas open and healthy. It stopped trees from taking over the wetlands. But lately, fire has a new and more urgent job. It is a weapon against a hidden hunter. Experts plan these burns very carefully. They use fire like a small tool rather than a big hammer. They watch the weather and the wind for the perfect day. The grass needs to be dry enough to burn without hurting the soil or the big trees. It is a very risky job. If the fire is too hot, it causes damage that lasts. If it is too weak, it leaves spots where snakes can still hide. This makes the job a science and an art. The goal in python spots is to reduce the risk of a wildfire and to take away the snake's best shield. The thick layer of dead grass near the dirt is where pythons hide. They use it to stay warm and to surprise their prey. The fire burns that layer away. This shows the snakes to the sun and the heat and other hunters. It forces them to leave their safe spots. Without their cover, pythons are in danger in a way they have never felt before. The burning itself is very dramatic. Helicopters drop small fireballs that start many fires at once. Thousands of acres can be lit up in just a few hours. The sawgrass burns fast. Its sharp blades make a loud crackle that fills the air. To someone watching, it looks like a disaster. But for the land managers, it is a smart attack to reset the land. The fire eats the invasive plants and the dead trash. At the same time, it helps the water flow better and makes the snake's home weaker. While the fire moves in, the marsh is full of bugs and small animals and birds trying to escape. Then, from the black ground, the real targets come out. The pythons are finally visible. Their colors no longer hide them against the black ash. This movement is the break that the hunters have been waiting for. It lets them finally reduce the number of snakes. But burning the Everglades is very hard and full of risk. The area is tough because of hidden holes in the rock and thick mud. The crews doing the burning have to be very careful. They have to stay safe and avoid angry snakes that have been moved. The smoke can make it hard to see and can confuse the team. This mission takes a lot of skill and carries a lot of danger. Besides clearing snakes, fire also gets rid of bad plants like the melaleuca trees. These trees take too much water and ruin the swamp. Clearing these plants lets native grass come back stronger. The new growth brings back native animals like rabbits. This creates a cycle where burned areas become places to eat. Sadly, this brings pythons back too, but they are easier to see now. These burns happen on a huge scale. Sometimes they cover hundreds of thousands of acres at once. A big fire can reset a huge area of land. It gives people a chance to make a move. But the size of the burns is only part of a bigger plan to take the land back from an invader that is always changing. After the fire shows the threat, the work starts to track and remove the giants from the black ground. New hope for the glades. Once the fire is out and the smoke clears, the Everglades looks very different. The green world turns into a land of black stalks and ash. In this new world, camouflage does not work. The pythons stand out like bright lights against the dark ground. This exposure changes the whole fight. The fire makes the snakes move out of their dens. This messes up their habits. Studies show that after a fire, snakes move 50% more than they usually do. They need to find a new place to stay and keep their bodies warm. This movement is their biggest weakness. It gives hunters a chance to find them. These hunters are not just regular people. They are trained contractors. They work in water full of alligators and thick clouds of bugs. Their work is very hard. They sometimes have to catch huge snakes with their hands. With the snakes out in the open, their job is a bit easier but still very intense. Hunting after a fire is about being patient. The snakes often stay at the edge of the burned area. They wait near the line where the green grass starts. Hunters walk these lines and look for any move in the ash. The speed of the hunt is very important. The chance the fire gives is short. In just a few weeks, the grass grows back and hides the snakes again. This means hunters must be fast. Every snake they take away is a win for the native animals. Recent fires have shown great results. After one big burn, snake sightings went up by 15% in just 2 days. This lets people catch more snakes and find their nests. Taking away one nest can mean 50 fewer snakes in the swamp by the summer. New tech helps the hunt too. Drones with good cameras fly over the burn zones. They can see snakes from high up in the air. Science also lets people check the water for snake DNA. This helps find where they are hiding. These new tools help the hard work on the ground. The fight to control the snakes is forcing them to change. As fires flush them out, the snakes are becoming more careful. Some are now moving only at night when it is harder to see them. This makes the hunt even more of a challenge. The snakes are even living through cold weather by hiding deep in the rocks. This means they might move even further north. Experts worry the snakes might evolve to be darker so they blend in with the black ash. This would make them invisible again. The snakes are also moving into new spots like backyards and city areas. This war is very complex. The Everglades is huge, and it is impossible to burn every spot. The grass grows back so fast that the window to hunt is tiny. Fire can also be dangerous if it burns the soil itself. The future might hold new ways to fight, like changing the snake's DNA so they cannot have babies. But this is risky because it might hurt native snakes too. Another idea is using smells to lure the snakes into traps. Drones and dogs are also being used more and more. The Everglades is fighting to keep its soul from an invader that changed everything. Controlled burns have shown the crisis is real. This war is as hard as the swamp itself. The fight continues every single day in the deep grass of Florida. If you found this story interesting and want to learn more about the wild parts of our world, please like and subscribe to the channel.